Assalamualaikum and hi. In this video, we are going to go through the solutions for week 5, part 2, Java input and output. In this specific lab, we have learned about Java output, and we have learned also about Java input specifically using the scanner class, and we have also explored some of the input methods available under the scanner class. So for the exercise, let's start with question 1 here. Question 1, below is a code snippet containing 5 arrows. Please identify these arrows and rewrite the entire program in the provided code cell. And we have 6 lines of codes here. I will first copy this and put it here. Of course, if we run this, we will get some arrows. Now let's point out each of these arrows one by one. So the first will be import java.utility.scanner, as should be capital letter, because we need the scanner class here. Remember, Java is case sensitive. Case sensitive. Okay, put the comments here so that you can take note as well. First problem or first arrow fix, I run it again. See here, it says expected. The problem here is with the keyword class, because we know that class is a Java reserved keywords. Okay. So here I would need to change it. Remember, this is an identifier. I can have anything that I like. For example, I just write object in Bahasa Melayu. Okay, and then system.out.println, please enter the radius, nothing wrong here. Double radius is equal to class. There's another arrow here, class. Because if you notice here, my object, the name of my object is objek object. So here I will need to have object as well, objek. Now, for the method here, next integer. Obviously, this is incorrect because I need to read the user input with the data type double. So I will need to change it to next double. Remember, next integer is to read integer, and next double obviously is to read double. Formula, nothing wrong with the formula, I reckon. System.out.println, final line here, the area of the circle is, you have a strings format specifier here. There's a tiny mistake where here you need to remove the double quotations because the area is actually the variables. So you shouldn't put the double quotations. Remember, everything that you put in as double quotations will be treated as string. Okay. Well, let's run it. There's still one arrow. You can run it. For example, now radius, let's say 5. Okay, the area is 78.5. But actually, you need to put a dot here, right? You need to put a dot here, %.2f. Okay, so that you will get the 78.50. Okay, because we want it to have 2 decimal points, right? Let's try it again. 5. Okay, so you'll see 78.5. Note the arrow here. First is you cannot do area because that will be treated as string. And the second one is the %.2f, right? You need to have a dot there so that you can get 2 decimal points, 2 decimal points. Right, let's move on to the second questions. Run the code snippet provided below. Is the output accurate? Justify your answer. If the output is inaccurate, explain how it could be corrected. Now let's run the code. So basically, this code will ask you to enter the full name. Let's say I will put in Ashraf Haikal. Your full name is Ashraf. You can see here, it only displays the first word. And let's find out what's the problems, because we know that from our videos or from these lab notes, there is a difference between the method next and also next line, right? Remember, for next, it will only read the first word from the user input, whereas for next line, it will read the entire line. Hence, in this case, in order for us to fix this, we will need to change it to next line. I'll put a note here again. Next is to read just the first word, whereas for next line, it will read the whole line. Okay. If you notice here, if I change it to next line, then I run this again. I have the same input, Ashraf Haikal. So I will say your full name is Ashraf Haikal. Okay. Next, question number 3 up until 5. It says here from question 3 up until question 5. These are based on the lab exercise from the previous lab. So what I have done here is I have already copied the solutions from the previous lab into the code cell here, and I'm going to modify this. Okay. Question 3, modify the code you wrote for question 1 so that the Java program prompts the user to enter a temperature in Fahrenheit degrees. The program should then convert and display this input in Celsius. We have done something very similar to this one in our previous lab, where we first initialize the value of temperature Fahrenheit to 100. Now the only things that we are going to change is we are going to ask for user input. Remember, in order for us to ask for user input, there will be 3 initials elements or 3 essentials elements that we need. First is we need to import java.utility util.scanners. We need to have the scanner class. Next, we're going to create a scanner object. In order for us to create a scanner object, we need to have that scanner. In this case, I'll just do my obj, my object is equal to new scanner system dot in, right? That's the syntax here. And then I'm going to ask user to input the temperature Fahrenheit. So I will provide the user with clear instructions. Please enter a temperature in Fahrenheit degree. Just a quick copy paste here. Okay. Close with semicolons. Now, instead of assign the value 100 to this variable temperature Fahrenheit, what I need to do is I will need to get the user input and then assign it to the same variables. What I will do is I will need to use my object, which I have created earlier, my object, and then I will need to identify the specific methods that I'm going to use in this case, because I know that what we call that, the temperature Fahrenheit is with the data type double, so I'm going to use next double, right? And I'm going to simplify the codes a little bit here, where I'm going to remove this double temperature Celsius, and I'm just going to add double here, okay? So I'm going to remove this one. Okay. Now let's try to run this. Okay, let's try to run this. Please enter temperature in Fahrenheit. We'll still go with 100. And then I get 37.7, which is exactly the same. Now, if I run this again, I change the value of Fahrenheit, let's say to 90, then I will get a different answer, 32.22. So if you notice here, the only differences will be, I use the scanner class, I import it, I create a scanner object, I add in an instructions telling user what need to be input, and then I read it using a specific method, okay? And then the rest will be the same, like the one that we have done earlier. Now, let's move on to the question 4 here. Again, the same situations, modify the code so that the Java programs prompt the user to enter a distance in miles. So remember, we need to have the values in miles and then we convert it into kilometer. I'm not going to write this again. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this, import Okay, so I import the utility package, I create an object. Let's put in a different instructions here because I want user to enter a distance in mouse. Please enter a distance in mouse. Okay, close with a semicolon. Then similar to the question 4 here, I'm going to change this to my object, okay, dot, okay. Specific method, again, in this case will be next double as well. Okay, so let's run this. Please enter a distance in mouse, let's say 2, I'll get 3.2, right? I'm going to change it to 5, I'll get 8. So the answer is correct. You can see it's very similar, right? Question 3 and question 4. I just want you to enhance your understanding of how to create a scanner object, how to use the scanner class, how to identify the specific methods that you're going to use through this exercise. So it's really straightforward here. Question 5, ask user about the number of days that they are going to meet their friends. So there will be 2 input here, the current day. So the program will ask the user what day is today, and then in how many days you and your friends are going to meet. Then we will have an output, you and your friends are going to meet on 2. Remember here, if you notice, we are just dealing with numbers. I don't want to make things complicated yet. Of course, we're going to change it to a much more real example later on, but for now, we just represent everything in numbers, right? So today, if today is 6, then will be Saturday. And if you and your friends are going to meet on 2, then we know that that's Tuesday. That's what we want to do, because I just want to test or make sure that you know how to use the scanner class. Similarly, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to import the scanner class, and then I'm going to create the scanner object. I need to have 2 inputs from the user. So the first will be what day is today, and the second one is in how many days. So I will add the instruction first, okay? So the instructions will be first, what day is today, okay? And the second instructions will be system.out.println, okay, in how many days you and your friends are going to meet, right? Now, next, we know that we're going to use the scanner object, okay, to read the value and then assign to the variable. So what day is today? Straight away after these instructions, you are going to read the user input, because we expect that user are going to input the value. So here, integer today, I'm going to use the same integer variables here. My object dot next integer, int, right? Because we know that this should be in the form of integer, the user input. Then only we proceed with the second instructions. Okay, remember here you can't have 2 instructions, then only you read both of the user input. So you need to go line by line. In this case will be you ask for the input from the user, you read it, and then you ask the second questions. Now for the second questions will be the same as well. That will be integers, days. And if you still remember, I said that we can reuse the object multiple times. So we do not need to create a new object. We just use my object, which we have created here. And in this case, we have the same input method, next integer. Okay. I'm going to remove this one because we do not need to assign the value. The value is basically based on the user input. Okay, looks good. Let's run this. What day is today? We're going to use the test case above, will be 6. And in how many days you and your friends are going to meet? There will be 10. Days to meet here is 2, right? But the requirement is you need to have something like this. You and your friends are going to meet. This is pretty straightforward, where we just copy this one, we do a concatenation, so we do a combine between the string and also the variables here. So we do, you and your friends are going to meet, that will be strings. So you have the double quotations, then you have this plus sign to concatenate, and then day to meet. Now let's try it again. Today is Saturday. In how many days? 10 days. I'm going to meet my friends. So you and your friends are going to meet on 2. 2 will be Tuesday. Well, if you want to add that full stop, then you can simply do something like this right here. Okay, you can see how I add a full stop there. You can try with some other numbers. Remember, I think we have mentioned about, let's say today is Saturday. You're going to meet your friends in 20 days. You have that as well. You and your friends are going to meet on 5, which is Tuesday. So that's it really for part 2 Java input and output. Basically, as I said, you just need to know how to import the scanner class, how to create a scanner object, and how to read this one, how to read the user input by using specific method like next integer, next double, next boolean, next line, next, and so on and so forth. I hope this is helpful. Thank you very much.